it's Linda here, and welcome to today's Lunchtime Crochet. And it's not lunchtime. It feels a bit weird, to be completely honest, doing it at this time of the day. But I do have an appointment at 12 noon that I couldn't change. So here we are. So if you are watching the recording, thank you for joining me. And if you are watching live, thank you for joining me as well. So say hi in the comments or the chat, depending whether you're in Zoom or in Facebook, and pop in any questions that you have as well. So at present here in Ballarat, it's a bit, the weather is a bit wild. And it was all night. It's been so windy, and it's raining as well. And the wheelie bin normally lives in this secure little spot in the courtyard, and it blew across the courtyard. I don't know how it got out of its corner. Just windy and raining and cold and wet. So all the good things. Feels very nice to be inside with surrounded by wool and to be nice and warm. So I hope wherever you are that it is you are warm and dry as well. Yes, all those good things. And today is our last lunchtime crochet too. So not only are we doing it at a different time, it's our last one. So good that the lockdown is easing in Melbourne from tonight, from midnight or 11:59 tonight. And I do have Minna on my lap. She's just snuggled down, so I'm not going to pick her up. She's just snuggled down onto my lap, and she looks so cozy. But we're actually here to talk about the what's it called? The color exploration blanket. I feel like the wind has blown my kind of logical thinking away. So if I get a bit confused or caught up, that's why. Bear with me, please. So we're going to talk about the color exploration blanket today. And the reason why you can see my camera here is I've pulled the tripod down because it's made using a smaller yarn. So I've pulled the tripod down closer to the table. So hopefully it will be easier for you to see what I'm doing when I show you the stitches with the smaller yarn. But here is the color exploration blanket, and I absolutely love making the color exploration blanket. So the yarn is amazing to crochet with, and the colors are amazing. And the reason why I came up with the color exploration blanket, so it kind of followed on from the fiber exploration blanket. So in blanket school, I know I've crocheted with a lot of different fibers, and I've kind of built a library of knowledge in my head of what fibers feel like and what they're good for. And I wanted our blanket school students to start to experience that as well. So I designed the fiber exploration blanket. So it has 6 different fibers in it. And it's just so each square of the blanket is made the same way, so the same pattern for each square, but you really get to see the difference in the fibers by making the same square with the different fibers, and you see how they behave and what they feel like and what you don't like. And then the color exploration blanket kind of came out of that because I was curious about color psychology and how colors make us feel. And so have woven that into, that's why there's 8 different colors in the color exploration blanket, to kind of be curious about how each color makes us feel. And so with colors and color psychology, there's positive emotions and feelings, and there's negative emotions and feelings. So if you've been if you personally have been too exposed to a color, depending on who you are, you can kind of end up in the negatives, those negative associations with the color, or it can be positive, and it can change too. So the color exploration blanket was about kind of exploring that and discovering what colors you love making with and how they make you feel. And doing that contrast, as well as using this amazing tweed yarn. So it's an authentic Irish tweed, and it's made in a historic mill in Ireland, and it has the most amazing color flakes through it. And you don't actually start to see those color flex and really experience them until you start crocheting with the yarn. And it makes the crocheting kind of process more mindful, because it, like, you know, I know for me, it draws me into just really looking what's at the end of my crochet hook and seeing those color flecks play out and how the different colors go together and how that makes me feel. And it's amazing. And then the tweed yarn as well. I wish I could just hand it through the screen to you so you could feel it, because it is a wool. And I wouldn't say it's a coarse wool. I think it's what they call a crunchy wool. It's very textural to hold, and it softens with use. And this, you can feel like it's really hardy. And for me, like, I kind of came up with the design during the lockdown, so it was quite nourishing and supportive as well. And it smells like wool too, which I love. Yeah, so it's an amazing yarn to crochet with, and it's really interesting to explore the psychology of color and how that works for you. And it's an individual process. And I know with some of the colors, when I made my first color exploration blanket to the one now, and the different times, how I respond to the colors is different too. So it's really interesting to be mindful and conscious of that. So I've shown you the color exploration blanket. What I didn't show you is it has this amazing join. And I'm going to show you how to do the stitches shortly, but I'll show you the join first. So on this side, the join and the border is invisible. You can't see it. So it gives a nice kind of patchwork effect with the squares. And then on this side, the join, you can see, and it's got, can I get this close enough to the camera for you to see? Maybe not, or maybe I'll show you when it's on the other camera. You see the amazing V's of the crochet stitches, and the gray yarn that we use to join all the squares together is amazing. It's got the most color flecks through it. So gray, being a neutral, kind of goes with all colors, which is why I've used that as the joining yarn, and that color flecks through the gray yarn kind of add to that effect and link into the color that it's beside. So I might put this down on the table, and then I'll turn the other camera on and I'll show you the join a bit closer. So let's do that. Let's do that. There we go. So hopefully you can see that. So it's done with a slip stitch through one loop. And these beautiful V's are showing on this side here, and then down the joins as well. And then to look, I'm going to put this one aside and go back to a single square. Now, hold on, I'm missing a square. Where did it go? I had a full, oh yes, it's ended up on my lap. That's maybe not the best color to be looking at. No, let's go back to this one. So this is a single square, individual square, and it has been blocked. And so with the design of the pattern, it has, this side is really quite textural, and it has these knobbly bits all the way through it. And that's formed by the wrapped extended double crochet stitch, and that's the UK terminology, and wrapped extended single crochet stitch is the US terminology. And then on this side, it's more flat, but it's got this really amazing texture, and you can see all the little holes through it too. It's a bit of a meshish type pattern, and I'm going to show you how that's done, how we crochet that and what the stitches are. Mina's just put her little nose on the table as well. She says, I would like to be part of this. Is this your square, darling? I'm going to move it now. And with the pink yarn, you can see there's a green color fleck through it. There's a few different tones of purple through it. Can I see any other colors? Occasionally there'll be a completely different and a lighter color through there. And it's just amazing. It's always so fascinating to crochet with, and it feels so beautiful. Even though it's not a super soft wool, it feels amazing to crochet with. Okay, so as cute as Minna's nose is, it's a bit hard to show you the important crocheting. So this is a square I'm partway through. And so how the squares are made, and just a side note that this, the pattern and the online course for this blanket comes with a crochet chart, and through the video tutorials and blanket school I actually teach you how to read the crochet chart, and it's a really good pattern to practice reading the crochet chart with, and it's color coded too, so it's nice and easy to see what the stitches are. So we start off doing the foundation chain, and then on each square there is a border that's crocheted in line. So there's at top and bottom, there's a single row of double crochet. And then down the side, there's 2 or 3 stitches, depending on what the row is, it alternates, of double crochet as well. And that double crochet is the UK terminology, which is single crochet in the US terminology. So border crocheted in line. And then the rows alternate between, so double crochet row first, and then the next row starts with 3 double crochet, starts and finishes, and then in the middle it alternates between double crochet and then a chain, double crochet and then a chain, which where the chain is leaves a little gap. And then the next row, when it comes back, it's 2 double crochet stitches, start and finish, and then a chain. And then into the chain space below, we do a wrapped extended double crochet stitch. And then we alternate those rows throughout the entire square, and then finish off with the double crochet row at the end. So let's do a row of each, and I'll step you through what we do on each one. So, okay, so to start with, so because it's a double crochet row, so that's double crochet UK, single crochet US terminology. So there's 1 chain as the turning chain, so a single chain stitch to start with, and then we do 3 double crochet stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And when we get to the other side, we'll do 3 double crochet stitches there as well. And then in the middle, now we're going to alternate between chain and doing a double crochet into the chain space below. So what we haven't talked about chain spaces below in Lunchtime Crochet, but what a chain space is you can see these holes, the white holes, the white of the background peeking through the crocheting. So that hole is underneath a chain, and that's called a chain space. And when the pattern says to crochet into the chain space, it means to put your hook into that hole. So it sits under the chain stitch. So we alternate. So where there's a wrapped double crochet below, we do a chain. And then where there's a chain space, we put the hook into it and do a double crochet stitch. And just alternate that all the way along until there's 3 stitches left. So chain, double crochet into the chain space, chain, double crochet into the chain space, chain, double crochet into the chain space. Get some more yarn out. Chain, double crochet into the chain space, 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 and just continue that. And so I have designed the color exploration blanket. So when I designed it to be made after the fiber exploration blanket, so it builds on those stitches. And for the fiber exploration blanket, for it to be made kind of after, definitely after the warm heart blanket, and then maybe the bliss blanket, just so you've built the confidence, your confidence in doing the stitches. And then kind of exploring and working into crocheting with the smaller yarn. And so I've reached the end, and so then I'm going to do the last double crochet into the last chain space, and then 2 double crochet stitches, and they're just worked into the top of the stitch below, like that. So that's one row, and then we turn and come back and do the next row. Get some more yarn out. And so for the next row, the second row, we do a single turning chain as well. And then 2 chain stitches for the border. So we'll do 2 stitches, 2 double crochet stitches for the border. And that'll be the same at the end of the row as well. And then in the middle of this row, we alternate between doing a chain, which sits above the double crochet in the row below. And in the chain space, we crochet. So we put the hook in under the full chain stitch. So you don't put the hook into the chain, you go into the chain space. We do a wrapped extended double crochet stitch, and I'm going to show you how to do that because chances are you haven't come across how to do one of those before. So chain, and then into the chain space, you put your hook in and then yarn over and pull that yarn over back out. So that's exactly like starting a standard double crochet stitch. And then it turns into an extended stitch because we yarn over and we only pull that yarn over through the first loop. So it creates a little V on the side. And if we were to keep going as per normal, that would be an extended double crochet stitch. But we're not. We're going to turn it into a wrapped extended double crochet stitch. And to do that, hold on to the stitches with your finger and put the hook into the space on the right. If you're left-handed, you'd be putting it into the space on your left. And the hook goes behind everything, all of the loops that you've done so far in the stitch. And then yarn over, and you pull that yarn over back around. So you're wrapping that yarn over around everything you've done so far. And that leaves you with 3 loops on the hook. And then yarn over and pull through all those 3 loops. And that gives the wrapped texture to the stitch. And then chain again, and into the next chain space, put the hook in there, yarn over and pull that back out of the chain space, then yarn over and pull that through the first loop on the hook, and then hold on to the loops on the hook with your finger and wrap the hook, put the hook into the space to the right and put it behind what you've done of the stitch so far, yarn over and pull that back out of the space. And that gives 3 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull that through all 3. So it is a slightly different stitch to what we've done so far. But it does feel weird the first time you do it, but it does get a lot more, becomes a lot more familiar the more you do it. And so it's just this second row, it just alternates. The second row alternates the chain and then doing the wrapped extended double crochet stitch into the chain space. And then the square just alternates between the 2 different row types all the way along. And just keep doing that the whole way along. And so if you're feeling a bit daunted about this, doing the square, remember that with any crochet project, all it is about just breaking it down and doing 1 stitch at a time. So you actually could just pick up and do crochet anything if you just take it 1 stitch at a time and just don't worry about kind of let go of not being able to do it, or thinking you can't do it, or it's too complex, or it's too hard, if those thoughts start to pop up, just take a couple of deep breaths, breathe into your belly, and then breathe out through your nose, and just breathe in and out a couple of times, just to center yourself and let those thoughts float away, because you can totally do it. Just take it one stitch at a time. And the more you do it, the more comfortable and confident you'll feel with it. Because crocheting is just about putting the hook into the stitch below, and then doing a yarn over, and then pulling that yarn over through one or many loops. And it's just about knowing which parts to do. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more confident you get at it too. So I've almost finished this row. I'll finish it off. So if you do have any questions for me, or you'd like me to show you anything, just pop your questions into the comments or the chat now. Almost there. Okay, and so I've got to the point where I've got 2 stitches left at the end of the row, and I'm just doing 2 double crochet stitches into there, and then turn. And I've almost finished this square. I think I've got maybe another 2 rows to go, and then the border, and then that one is done. So that's how we crochet the color exploration blanket squares. Nope, I'm just flipping my camera back around. Sorry for my arm across the screen. So I hope that was interesting and helpful for you. And if you do have some questions, just pop it into the comments in the Facebook, the video on the Homely Lass Facebook page, or pop over into the Chunky Crochet for Mindful Makers Facebook group, and I will help you out there. And remember, this week until Sunday night, you've got access to the first crocheting lesson of all of the blanket courses that have been released in Blanket School. So you can go and have a look, and you could actually make a whole square of a color exploration blanket, or learn how to read a crochet chart by doing that square. So that's all there for you. If you've got any questions at all over on the Blanket School website at blanketschool.com, just pop it into the web chat on the bottom right corner of the screen. That comes through to my phone. And if I can answer it straight away, I definitely will. Otherwise, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you for joining me in Lunchtime Crochet. I hope you've enjoyed these sessions. Yeah, for joining in with me and sharing your photos with me. I have loved helping you and being able to see you progress and become more confident at crocheting. It's a beautiful skill to have, and it feels good to be able to make beautiful things and make things and customize them the way you want them to be, and to be able to give that gift of making to the special people in your life too. But yeah, so explore Blanket School. And if you have loved Lunchtime Crochet and you'd love to get regular weekly crocheting tasks, join us in Blanket School as a premium member. You'll get weekly crocheting charts. We're always making something new. We're always making a new blanket or something else. We do vary it. We've just done a couple of weeks on scarves as well. And we've got a dedicated VIP Facebook group for our premium students. Your weekly making task, there's 20% off in the Homely Lass online shop as well. Yeah, lots of fun, lots of crocheting fun. Oh, and then of course, you can book a one-on-one crochet help session with me as well, where we go through whatever you're having a few problems with and get you unstuck and keep you crocheting and going forward. So like I said, thank you for joining me at Lunchtime Crochet. This has been our last one, and the recordings will still be available for you to watch on the Homely Lass website. I will talk to you later. Bye.